Okay, so it's kind of embarrassing to admit this, but this is like a really big reason why I stopped watching The Bachelor. Hey, it's been a while since we've had a little bit of a chat, so I'm excited to catch up today and talk about some of the things that I've been thinking through and some of the things that have been kind of stirring in me. So first of all, the summer is absolutely flying by. Like, since when is it? August. But yeah, and if you don't know, one of the biggest things that I do, my full-time job, is being a stay-at-home mom. And it is absolutely the best and hardest thing I've ever done. And I think something that I'm learning right now is how to rest intentionally, how to rest strategically, because I think that there are times when I'm so exhausted that when the kids go to sleep, I want to go to sleep. I'm talking 7:30. Where I just want to go to sleep, or I want to veg, or I stare at my phone, or all of these things. But I feel like this summer especially, I've become more aware of how those things are draining me instead of helping me intentionally rest. So one of the big things I want to talk about is that, like, how do we, no matter what season we're in, learn the art of intentionally resting and what that looks like for us, because we're all different, right? Different things fuel us, different things give us rest. But what can that actually look like? Because I think we all have a desire to function at our best. I mean, we live in a society that we're judged on our output constantly. How hard we're hustling and things like that. So I think it can be really easy to burn ourselves out really, really quick. And then we're so tired that we don't know how to rest well. So a year ago, I would kind of disconnect my brain with things like The Bachelor and scrolling on my phone even more than I do now, and I'm still trying to cut back, but like, it was worse. And feeling like, okay, I'm gonna unplug my brain and that's gonna help me rest. So that's what I would do, and that's all that I felt like I had the power to do to rest, because I was so exhausted. But then I started noticing, honestly, like, the wear that it had on my soul. I don't really know another way to like explain that. But I feel like it was wearing on my soul. Okay, so it's kind of embarrassing to admit this, but this is like a really big reason why I stopped watching The Bachelor. And it was that I would watch it and then I would feel like an overwhelming sense of like discontentment. And I don't know, I never felt like jealous or like, oh, I wish I could be the Bachelorette in a different world or whatever. I didn't feel like that, but I don't really know what it was about it, watching people's romances that have like a 5% chance of success or what. But it was fascinating to me. And listen, I am not dogging on anybody that watches it. And honestly, sometimes I'm like invested in these people's stories now. And I am like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me to not watch Bachelor in Paradise, because I want to know what happens to these people that I love. But if I do want to know, I'm just going to watch Dave Neal's YouTube channel to learn in 5 minutes what would have taken me like 3 hours an episode to figure out. Like, how did I have time for like 3 hours an episode? I'm like, it makes me more emotionally exhausted with people's drama. That's like not my drama, not my life. But I came to a spot where I realized that either I could continue to use these things as a form of rest, or I could try and figure out what a real rest looks like to me. Activities or restful things that I could do that when I'm done, I feel more energized, not more tired. Have you ever like done a Netflix binge and then feel like you have to sleep for 3 days to recover from it? Yeah, me too. We weren't built to rest like that, right? The more that I intentionally rest, reading books that don't involve screens, taking walks, being outside, taking an actual nap without just staring at my phone to fall asleep. All of those things have been, for me, much more restful. And for me personally, I want to know that I've rested well so that I can be present well, right? The goal of my resting is to fuel me to live the rest of my life well. And as a mom and as a wife and as someone who longs to like pastor people and be with people and love on people, I can't do that from empty. I have tried and it sucks. It is 0% fun. But yeah, doing restful things and then asking the Lord to be with me in those, and even for him to help me figure out what is most restful for me, because he built me, like he knows, has been so, I don't know, it's just been a game changer, honestly. So I hope that for you too, that if you haven't quite found the things that are restful to you and you would like to spend less time on screens and more time being intentionally fueled to do the things that you're most passionate about and to do those things well, then yeah, try some things out. You might try going for a walk and you're like, it's too hot outside, I'd rather be doing something else, you know? Just kind of test things and see how they go and see what fuels you and what fuels you better, and you will. And as you rest well, you're gonna live the rest of your life better. So I know that I said that I realized a lot of these things like this time last year, but don't be fooled. These are things that I still battle with all the time, and things that I'm still learning and working through being more intentional about. So I will catch myself in a scrolling spree, and even Brandon is like, hey, what you doing there? What you doing? And I hate that. I really am. Like, that is hard to admit. But I'm getting better all the time. Okay. And, yeah, I can get so invested and hyper-focused in my phone and things that don't matter, that don't apply to or enrich my actual living, tangible life. And I don't want to live that way. I don't want to live distracted. And I want to be instead invested wholeheartedly into my family, but also people outside of my family that are around me in my sphere of influence here where I'm at. And I'm not saying that it's, the extremes, that you can either have one or the other. But for me, because I can hyper focus into the wrong things very easily, that it helps my brain to be a little bit more black and white about it. So I hope that in some way that encourages you and helps you start to process, what does that look like for you? And maybe that is something that you're already kind of thinking through, how to intentionally rest so that it can fuel you to be more present and effective in your real life. So if this was helpful at all, let me know how in the comments, and I would love to do a Q&A soon. So any questions that you have about faith, motherhood, or church stuff, I would love to chat with you about it. Until then, you can check out the other videos here or check out some of the stuff that I'm posting on my Instagram and TikTok too, and I would love to just connect. So I'll see you next week.